Hey guys, so I'm coming at you today with a tag. I was tagged by Wendy Valencia, and I'm going to answer a few questions about how I handle finances. So number one is, what are the most important frugal things you do every day to save money? Probably the biggest one and the one I tend to forget is that I actually live where I work. I literally from my front door can see my office, so I walk to work, and I get a discount for living at work. I get 20% off my rent. So that's a pretty big one. And with living so close to work and walking, I mean, maybe once, sometimes twice a month, I have to fill up the car. So I save a lot of money that way. Um, Now, I realize that not everybody can do that. It's just my industry. So, for those of you who aren't, another thing that I do is basically I don't buy anything. Like, almost ever, I have to force myself to buy something. So, only buy something if you absolutely need it. Like, have a pair of jeans or two pairs of jeans, one or two pairs of shoes, like I do. I only replace my shoes when it has holes in the bottom. I only replace my jeans when they get holes in them. So just make everything last as long as it possibly can, and I don't want to quite say minimalism, but just have a few of everything. You don't need to have a ton of different options. Nobody cares if you wear the same thing all the time. Number two, what is your best strategy for saving on utilities? Well, number one, I don't use air conditioning. And I know it's a challenge for some people, but I grew up very poor and grew up in a house that didn't have air conditioning. So it's not that big a deal for me. I actually do have it set on 80, so it does occasionally kick on, but only when it gets really hot. So, yeah, I mean, just you can do that. But also, just be frugal. Be conscious of your energy usage. Only have lights on in rooms that you're in. I only have these two on behind me because it helps with the lighting of the camera. But other than that, just make sure when you leave the room or when you leave the house, you turn everything off. And it'll save you a bunch. What is your best tip to save on food or household products? Well, okay, I don't really know about household products. I'm assuming that's like trash bags, paper towels, that kind of thing. I honestly don't buy them very often, maybe once a year, so I can't comment on that. But food, yeah, I buy a lot of that. So the biggest thing about that is eat at home. That is one of the things that I found out recently I was spending an obscene amount of money on, and had been forever and did not realize it. And obviously I'm trying to make my money go as far as possible, so I was like, this is a huge opportunity to save. Because when you think about it, let's say, now I don't cook, so if you cook, props to you because you can do this so much cheaper than I'm even doing. But let's say you go out for a cheap meal. It's maybe $6, $7 to get a meal at McDonald's, right? And that's on the cheap end of fast food. But if you go to, say, like Kroger and you get a TV dinner, that's like $2.99 or $3.99. All right, so you've already cut the cost from one meal in half. And let's say you spend $400 a month on food. Well, then if you eat in for every meal, you spend $200 a month on food. So it can make a huge difference. Um, what is? I obviously didn't write the question down right. What is best tip to save on clothes? Basically, I don't buy them that often. I only buy them when I absolutely need a piece that I don't have, or when something is worn out. So even when they're worn out, I try to make them last as long as possible. Like my work shoes have holes completely through the soles of them, and I just wear them like that. Um, with clothes, though, if you do need to buy clothes, know what brands that you wear and work for you, and wait until they're on sale. For example, I always get my jeans from Hollister or Abercrombie and Fitch. I used to work there. I know the fit. They're my go-to. But they used to be really expensive, and they still kind of are if you buy them. If you just walk in the store and buy them. But you also have to know that once every 2 months, Hollister has a deal where their jeans are $25 a pair. So you have to look out for stuff like that. And I'll always call, like, because I don't have a mall anywhere close to me. It's like at least like 20-minute drive away. So I always just call them and be like, hey, you guys, if I need the jeans, I'll say, hey, do you guys have the jeans on sale this week? And if not, I'll call them back the next week and see. So that is one strategy. And of course, the other thing is to um, don't buy super cheap clothes just for the sake of saving money, because there is a purpose in having brand names that you're familiar with. Now, don't go out and get designer stuff, but this, you go to a standard mall, that kind of stuff, that's probably pretty reasonable. But if you go middle of the road like Hollister or American Eagle, or even like I got this shirt at Walmart, you can get stuff like that. Just make sure that it's something that's going to be a good quality, because if you don't buy something that's at least an okay quality, if you buy something super cheap, um, you're gonna have to replace it more often than you would have if you just got the name brand thing in the first place. And in that goes for a lot of things other than clothes too. That you want to just make sure that there are a few things that you just need to put some money into. The other thing is, what is your best strategy to get out of debt or pay down debt? Well, I think I've talked about that, like my long-term strategy of starting business, all that stuff. But I would say I have a custom method. I don't follow Susie Orman or Dave Ramsey. I've kind of made what works for me. I look at what they do. I agree with some points. I disagree with other points, and I've made it work for my situation. Just basically custom fit to what I have going on in my life. And I would say my best strategy for getting out of debt is to do things that make sense for me and not to follow a strict pathway that maybe is not custom fit for my life. But to get more specific about that, like I kind of do a mixture of snowball method as far as paying off debt, but well, that's true. I do snowball, but I attack the lowest debt not for the psychological benefit, but because I never know when my situation is going to change and when I may have to stop paying off what I was just paying off. And I don't want to put a few $1,000s toward a credit card or toward my student loan and then lose my job and then all of that come back in interest and I'm just out that money. I want to make sure that I'm attacking that lowest amount so that I can get it paid off, so that that's gone and I don't have to worry about. I'm like, okay, that's another thing checked off, another thing that won't come back and bite me if I do lose my job. So for me, it's about security. Please share one thing you do to save money that other people don't know. Well, this one's kind of tough because I'm just super cheap, but I can't really use that as my tip. To save money, I am the cheapest person in the world. I think what I've done might be helpful for some people. I just don't know if I can tell you how to do it except for practice. Take yourself to the mall or take yourself, wherever you need to go. Let's say, I don't know, you need to fix your house, you go to Lowe's, all right? Walk around there. Look at the stuff that you need, all right? But don't buy anything. Just don't. Now, you might see all this stuff you need, and you're going to be tempted to buy it, but you don't. Okay? It's almost like cognitive behavioral therapy. You expose yourself to it, and you physically tell yourself, no, I'm not going to do that. And over a course of time, it does actually work the same way, and it rewires your neural pathways so that your automatic response to going there is not to buy it. It's just to look, right? And it's still a struggle sometimes, really it is. And I have a struggle of like, man, I really like that. I should get this t-shirt or I should get this pair of shorts, but I don't really want to spend the money or I can't spend the money at the time. So I take a picture of it. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll see it on clearance later on, or I'll see it at the outlet store. I've done that before, where it's left the store and I found the same shirt later for a quarter of the cost at the outlets, um, or or something like that. But the point is to get yourself trained that you can go anywhere and you don't buy anything except for what is absolutely necessary. And then you don't have to worry about going to the mall. You don't have to worry about being tempted to spend money because you trust yourself and know that you won't. You just won't. And once you're trained like that, it really is that easy to just buy it. And the last thing here, how important is it for you to save money? Well, I'm going to say it's really important. And I am going to say that it is actually more important to save money than to get out of debt. That's going to be a really unpopular opinion, but the reason that I feel that way is because I was brought up with very little financial knowledge, but the things that my grandparents did teach me were saving. And of course, they didn't do it in a good way. They had a savings account that probably got 0.1% interest, and instead of an online high interest savings account, mine just went up to 1.15% interest. You have to do it in a smart way, but it's important to save. And whether that be for retirement, for emergency funds, for sinking funds, however you want to do it, I think that saving is the basis for getting out of debt and getting to the point of financial independence. Because, yes, paying off debt is something you're going to have to do, and it's going to get you closer to where you want to be. But if you spend years paying off debt, you don't really have anything to show for it at the end. Okay, great, you paid off all your loans. Well, you're still broke. And that's why I don't advocate paying off all your stuff and then doing this. I think that you should do both at the same time. And, maybe when you crunch the numbers, it doesn't make sense, but I want to come out of being in debt with having a safety net too. So anyway, guys, hopefully you learned something from those tips. Thank you, Wendy, for tagging me. Now, I asked a couple times. No one else, I think everybody else already got tagged that wanted to do it. So I'd like to put this out to you. If anybody there on my channel wants to answer these questions, go ahead and tag yourself. And then send me a message or tag me in a comment and let me know that you did this video, and I'll make sure to go and comment on it. If you guys have not subscribed, I have been posting more and more frequently, almost up to twice a week now. I'm going to be bringing you more and more content, and fingers crossed, by the end of this month, I'll have all my tech stuff figured out, and I will be bringing you a monthly series where you guys get to see every penny that I spend, and you'll get to see all my goals, all my budgets, and be completely in the know of my progress of paying off debt and becoming financially independent. So please take the time to hit the subscribe button down in the corner or below the video. I come at you once or twice a week with a financial video, and I fill you in the meantime on the stuff going on in my life. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe and go ahead and tag yourself and let me know if you complete this tag.